Would you date
I'm
an
not
average
good
guy?
at dating apps. Would I date an average guy
Yeah.
if they have a great personality?
No.
Oh,
So
the
average
personality?
So average personality, average looks, average height, average PP size.
Dingaling.
Dingling. Would you?
Well, it's all about the motion of the ocean, but no.
You wouldn't date an average
Not
guy?
like an average personality. That'd be boring.
What's wrong with average?
Do you think I'm average?
Yes.
Oh.
It's okay, though. There's nothing wrong with average.
No, there's nothing wrong with average.
Uh-huh.
It just sounds like it'd be boring. I'd rather be single.
I think average people normally like date each other, you know? Like
Yeah.
extremely beautiful people date each other, ugly people date each
so
other.
I need to date someone ugly.
Would you said you wouldn't, did you say you wouldn't be willing to settle? Is that what you said?
I would
Or-
rather be single
single,
than
yeah.
settle with someone who's like average
Average.
and boring and like doesn't make me happy or fulfill my needs.
But what about when you're in your 40s, for example, and you're not really traveling as much, and you know you're not like young in your 20s anymore, and life slows down a little bit? Don't you think you'd be more happy to be with a guy who works in construction, who's 5'10", earns a decent salary, and he's a good guy, and you guys can make kids and have a family and
Maybe.
live a
My mind
meaningful
might change
life?
when I'm older because every year you learn something new. But at this moment,
But isn't it just a vapid lifestyle to be doing the same thing in your 40s and 50s?
I mean, I don't do anything too crazy right now.
But if you were still doing that when you're in like 20 years' time, don't you think it wouldn't be a very good life?
Yeah, I mean, anything that you do for a long time like could get boring after a while.
Yeah. I think
I
if I was,
don't
if
wanna
I was
be
still
single
doing what I'm
forever,
doing
but-
now in 20 years' time, it's like a nightmare for me to think about that.
Yeah.
I don't really think that girls think ahead that much with this sort of thing.
I mean, I definitely do. I want to have a big family and have lots of kids. But I shouldn't feel the pressure of society to.
I think we all need that pressure. It's like a good pressure that we've got. It's like duty. We
yeah,
have like
for
a
men
duty.
to say that because guys don't have like a time clock.
Yeah, but we've got other disadvantages, you know? We've got lots of disadvantages.
Like,
Well, the fact that we don't get any attention sexually when we're younger. When a guy's 20, 21 with no resources and he's still probably got like pimples on his face and ugly, girls don't really look twice at them.
I mean, same with girls.
Are you joking? Girls who are in between 20 and 24 are in their sexual peak. They get the most
I thought you
attention.
were talking about high school.
I'm not really talking about even young guys in high school. I mean, we should pull up one of my high school photos. I was disgusting. But yeah, I mean, yeah, guys, we have to develop ourselves as men and get into your 30s when you've got more resources, you're more competent, you're a better leader. This is when you start to get more attention and you start to, this sort of thing starts
Well,
to
it
go
definitely
like
takes
this.
guys longer to mature because your frontal cortex doesn't develop until you're like at least
Yeah.
25.
And you have to make a bunch of mistakes and fall on your face a bunch of times and go out into the world and experience all different kinds of trials and tribulations. But that actually grows your character as a guy. But before then, you don't really get much serious attention unless you're like ridiculously good looking
Builds character.
or unless you have some sort of precocious talent. But so that's a disadvantage that we've got.
Going around the table on this, though, you said you would not be willing to, you'd rather stay single than settle. So would you rather stay single for the rest of your life than lower your standards or settle?
But I already have the best man I can wish
Well,
for. So.
assuming you were single, right?
Well, before this, I was 8 years single, so I guess I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with an average guy.
And so you would date an average guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like he said, average dates average and
Right.
all of that.
I would date an average guy, yeah.
And then would you rather stay single than have to lower your standards or settle?
Depends on the situation, really. If it's something that's going to annoy me in the long run, yeah, I would never settle for that. If it's something I can deal with in the long run, yeah, I would settle for that.
Okay. What about you?
I would settle, yeah.
Okay.
I think I would settle. I mean, I feel like in the long run, as long as he's like a great dad to like our kids, I feel like that's all that really
Okay.
matters.
Sure.
But other than that, yeah.
Word. Okay.
I have a question. Can
Sure.
an average man be the provider?
It is difficult in this economy, but it's possible though. Depends. If you live rurally, you can, but if you're living in a city or a place like Santa Barbara, then it is nearly impossible. It's a big problem that we've got at the moment.
Wait, do you want to get married, right?
Yeah.
You want to have kids? How many kids?
3 to 5.
3 to 5?
3 to 5.
Yeah.
Not 35.
Yeah, 3 to 5. And do you want to continue working while you're like once you start having kids, or what do you think?
I want to be a per diem princess. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's like so for nurses you can work full time, which is 3 to 5 days a week, depending on your hours, or you can work like 1 day a week, like a per diem job where you just kind of work whenever you want to have an income. And like have a social life still and still have like a normal routine and have like that sense of normalcy.
Word. Okay. Let's go back to the dating app. Dating her is like winning the lottery, gentlemen. All right, next. Go ahead.
Okay, it says the way to win me over is plan a proper date, be a gentleman, and take me on adventures. What's wrong with this?
I think that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
I thought that was the best part of the whole profile.
Next.
The beginning. That's the first. That's the first picture too, and the first.
Okay, that's the last one for the dating app stuff. Okay. Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Okay, scale of 0 to 10.
I'd say there's a lot of red flags in that profile.
Oh yeah, the traveling.
The
Look,
lottery.
The lottery was,
Okay.
was bad because that's
Take
kind of
notes.
that would scream headaches for me. Entitlement, already putting yourself on a pedestal. I know it's a joke, and you know,
Yeah,
you're just kidding, but also the traveling photos and the
Should I do pictures of
bikini
me
photos
with
on
my
beaches around the
cat?
world. I'd say, have you thought about investing in a burqa?
A burqa?
Yeah,
I have a poncho.
a poncho is the
Poncho.
next best thing,
Okay.
and maybe a photo with a poncho. Would
Or
be
like
better.
a onesie. I have a unicorn onesie.
There you go.
Oh, and then I could be like, this is winning the lottery.
All right.
You're finding your unicorn. Okay.
That would be
There
better.
we go.
Maybe
That
you
would be
guys
funny.
can,
That would be all right. But yeah, all of the traveling, and then when you say registered nurse and you're traveling a lot, it's like,
Travel nurse is a red flag already. I know.
Wait, you know that?
People always tell me that.
It is a red flag.
Why? What makes it a red flag?
I'll give you a couple reasons. So
it happens in Vegas.
I think one thing, like let's say there's a relationship-minded guy, but and it sounds like you stay in cities a little longer than other travel nurses. But I remember when I was on dating apps, I'd encounter a lot of nurses. A lot. Like I've dated a lot
Oh, so you have a
of
type.
nurses. So no, not my type, but I've learned. And I've dated local nurses, but then I encountered a lot of these travel nurses. They're in town for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Same with flight
short
attendants,
stints.
yep.
Flight attendant, even worse. The thing is, if she's on a dating app and she's going on dates, she ain't dating people for long, which means what? High body count, promiscuity.
And also, it's a good opportunity for you to be able to do whatever you want and not have the social stigma of your circle back home. Nobody knows about it. Just get away with it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's like, I remember I was on a date with this travel nurse. I thought she was just a regular nurse. Turns out she's a travel nurse, you know? I mean, it's like
Oh no.
crazy, right? And I'm like, oh, how many cities you been in? And she's like 33. I'm like, oh no, hold on.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Oh no. Just no. Bad.
so did you hook up with her?
And I'm like, am I dude 30, 100? That's what I'm thinking in my brain. Am I dude 100 because you were on Tinder and Hinge and Bumble in the other 33 previous cities? Mm-hmm. Seattle.
You're not going out
Scottsdale.
for warm hot chocolates.
Washington, D.C., Boston, Fort Lauderdale, Louisiana. Wait, that's a
Why does
state.
that matter,
New
though?
Orleans. Why does what matter?
Why does it matter when you have
Maybe-
someone who travels a lot and
Maybe she's celibate.
Dates.
Because typically people who travel a lot, so they don't make any what's the term for it? They don't have, I don't know if it's roots, but like when you stay in one place, you're going to end up, hopefully, with a long-term relationship. If you know you're leaving a city in 6 weeks' time, are you going to date seriously, or are you going to just like date casually?
And
Probably
all-
date casually.
Yeah.
You're going to rack up a high body count. You're going to have friends with benefits. Even if you date just one guy in one city, it's only going to last a couple weeks, couple months. Then you're in the next city. You've racked up a high body count. High body count is undesirable in women. You are now disqualified.
But why do
My
you look
dear.
at it so negatively, though?
Because
So you could go to a city and go dating. Okay, that's not it. You leave, go to the next city, and then you meet someone who's the love of your life, and you
Oh.
know you're leaving, but you can go back.
You can
Whoa,
always
whoa,
take
hold
a
on.
staff job too.
But you're asking kind of two different things. So you're saying, yeah, a woman could sleep with 300 men, and then the number 301, that could be the guy she ends up in a relationship with. But from the male perspective, I don't want to date a girl who has 300, 200, 100,
Yeah, but that's you.
50
That's not
bodies. Most
all the
men.
males.
Most men.
Men hear that and they will be repulsed by that. And if they're not repulsed by that, and if they're willing to accept 100 bodies or more, then they just like their priorities aren't in the right
But
place.
what does traveling have to do with having a high body
Well,
count?
I just explained it.
And
So-
also, if you're on the dating apps as well, when you're traveling and you meet a guy on a dating app, obviously he's going to like insinuates that you've been doing that everywhere. And also, when you're going to new cities, you don't really know anyone, you haven't got any friends. What's the easiest way to hang out with people and have some company? It's to go on dating apps.
Or joining a club,
Yeah, you don't join
getting a
clubs.
hobby.
You're not joining clubs. Give me a break. Have you ever joined a club in a new city?
Yeah, I play
Which ones?
volleyball, sand volleyball.
Okay, sure.